inside out. And as a quarterback, you're going to read this number 1 inside guy, number 2 outside guy. And really your read is going to be this defender right here. And again, Daniel Jones is good in this world, this intermediate passing game of anticipation and throwing guys open. So as I show you Daniel Jones, ball is out of his hand already. But this defender for Temple is doing a nice job. He's kind of playing in between that number 1 and that number 2 read. Well, Daniel Jones does a really good job here of throwing this ball out that way from this defender or to his receiver to not allow that defender to undercut that route. You've got to throw guys open. So good anticipation and the ability to throw guys away from the defenders. That's what he does well. So I go back, okay? That's what he does well. Now, something that he does struggle with that he needs to figure out is he's so conditioned A plus B equals C. Well, this is again against Temple. And Temple's playing cover 3, meaning this corner's playing cover 3. He's bailing out of there. And the pass concept is he's got a hitch route right here and a seam route right there. And quarterbacks go, A, you're playing cover 3, plus B, I've got a hitch route, easy completion. Now, what Daniel Jones struggles with is when A plus B doesn't happen. And what I mean by that is this. Look at this corner. It's staring right at Daniel Jones. That hitch now, that hitch that I drew initially, isn't a good situation because that guy's driving on the throw. But A plus B tells me I should have thrown that hitch route. Well, he's going to have a little bit of panic, and he's going to now try and throw this seam up here. It's going to be a bad situation because of that panic, because he was anticipating you played cover 3. That hitch route should be an easy throw. That corner's not supposed to be able to drive there on that short little throw, and he gets into those panics. He's so conditioned to know that if you're giving me this should be the answer, that when it doesn't happen that way, he gets into panic mode. And that's a big issue because when you have those issues in college, defensive coordinators in the NFL will figure out how to pick that apart.
Yeah, and for those who say, why would you choose Temple's defense? Temple's defense actually quite good, and Rocky Asen, one of the corners that you showed there, probably will be chosen today. We do have a new voice on the Daniel Jones situation at the set with Greeny. Ryan Clark, your turn to weigh in.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I understand that Temple has a pretty good defense. I just want to make my case quickly again before we go on for Dwayne Haskins. Michigan had 2 guys on defense picked in the top 12 last night, and Dwayne Haskins threw 6 touchdowns against them. So with no disrespect to Temple, I'm not exactly sure that the
they were number 1 defense at the time.
Every time you say no disrespect, it's a little bit of disrespect.
Well, I mean, listen, I just cannot believe Dwayne Haskins fell where he fell. But let's stay with Daniel Jones for a minute here. The whole world was stunned. Were you?
Absolutely. You know, when you look at the way the draft was supposed to fall out, and we heard that Daniel Jones had moved up the board for the New York Giants and Dave Gettleman, but we've all felt like you didn't have to get him at 6. If he was your guy, wait it out and see if he's there at 17, because looking at the film and evaluating Daniel Jones, he's not a guy you move up for. He's not a guy you take in the top 10. It is about getting value for your pick. And even if you feel like he is your quarterback of the future, if you can get him at a different time and get one of those pass rushers, get one of those great defensive players early, you do it.
Here's the thing, Nick. If someone had traded up and taken Dwayne Haskins in front of the Giants, maybe traded up to 3 where everyone knew the Jets were looking to trade back, then I can see him thinking, I better get my man right now. Now, he doesn't know it's going to fall this way, but in the end, it appears Josh Rosen, they can't find a place to send him. Drew Lock didn't even get drafted last night, and Haskins winds up falling all the way to 15. So it comes out looking just terrible.
Well, I can say this one good thing about Dave Gettleman is he ain't scared. He found a guy that he want. He knew the whole country thought it was stupid, and he went and got him. And he's in a year or so, we're going to look back on this and say, by Dave Gettleman, former general manager of the New York Giants, or Dave Gettleman made one of the smartest decisions in the history of football and outsmarted us all.
Yeah, that's right. If you identify your guy and you feel like you have to take him, if he winds up being a great player, no one will remember anyway about what happened last night. Okay, let me go to something else, because that happens at 6 last night. And it makes everyone completely forget that 2 picks earlier, we were all saying, what did the Raiders just do? What did you make of their selection at 4?
To me, that's even more mind-boggling. If you look at Cleveland Farrell, he was a guy who played well. He was the ACC Player of the Year. He was also playing with Dexter Lawrence and Wilkins. So he had guys on the inside that were forcing things out. He was a late first-round pick for me, and a guy who would have been a great value there. When you have a guy like Josh Allen on the board and Rashawn Gary and all of these other rushers, you think that Mike Mayock and John Gruden would go there.
Obviously, they did an evaluation. They felt he fit best for Gunther's defense, the defense coordinator. And if you're going to go with that and make that pick, he better show up, because this was an important draft for Mike Mayock, the Oakland Raiders. And they said pass rushers don't grow on trees, where they had guys there for you to get, and you made a choice to go with Farrell.
He was great against big-time talent, but he seemed like a safe pick. And that's not the type of guy that you want at that spot. You want a guy who's not going to have like a lower ceiling. You want a guy that's going to blow everyone out of the water. And it felt like that was the theme for them throughout. They went with safe picks, and they missed on better players. I thought they reached on Josh Jacobs.
And listen, conventional wisdom is not always right, but I didn't hear his name anywhere. I didn't hear anyone talking about him as a pick who could go conceivably this high. One more thing, RC, I want you to weigh in on, as a guy who's obviously a long-time veteran of NFL locker rooms and really successful ones. There was a bit of a debate here this morning. Neek and Dan Orlovsky got into it. I had Rex Ryan weigh in. I'll ask you. If the Arizona Cardinals cannot find real value in a trade for Josh Rosen, is it feasible that they could go into a season with both of those quarterbacks?
Not that dude. Not that dude.
Not Josh Rosen.
No. There are other guys who you can say you can go into a season, and now you have two very highly rated quarterbacks coming out of college that are on your roster for Cliff Kingsbury. But if you look at Josh Rosen, it reminds me of Joe Flacco last year when you get Lamar Jackson. Even though Joe was older, he wasn't in the mentor space. Josh Rosen isn't ready to be a mentor. He's going to be a guy that's going to make it known each and every day that he wants to be the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, and that's not the type of discord you want in the quarterback room.
I don't see a problem there, and I'm not going to yell and scream like I did earlier. I'm just going to give you the same chance that I've given everyone else, and no one's been able to successfully do this. Explain to me why it's not going to work. Not just because it's two guys in the locker room. What is going to happen to them? Why can't they compete? Why can't quarterbacks compete for a job?
No, quarterbacks can absolutely compete, but that position is different. That position isn't about, okay, if I don't have a guy, right? Usually when you have two quarterbacks, you have none. So if you're Cliff Kingsbury going into the year, you identified your guy the day you got the job.
Right.
That's the dude you want to get. There is no competition there. Now, if you feel like Kyler Murray needs some time to come along, you go bring in a bridge quarterback. If you have Josh Rosen there and you have a competition and Josh Rosen becomes the quarterback, there is no moving on from Josh Rosen the next year if he plays well and he does. That's not how it works.
Right,
but you can't be fine with that if you're Cliff Kingsbury and you're Steve Keim and you already made him.
You found a quarterback.
But the point is this, but you've also wasted a first overall pick.
You've already done that.
Find a way.
You already, one way or another, you wasted a first overall pick.
Cliff Kingsbury has not. Steve Keim has.
Well, the team
Cliff
has.
Kingsbury. It's not a.
Okay,
Here's the thing. It's not a. You can yell at me. I don't care. I'm tougher than you anyway. I play safety. Listen. Yeah. So what
I'm gonna need you to keep that analyst energy as we continue throughout.
You saw what he got too. It's all the same. So what I'm just saying, and this is
you still haven't answered the question though.
I have answered the question.
No one's answered the question. No one's explained to me why it doesn't work. You bring a guy in. You say that. So this is day one in camp. I think that Kyler Murray is the best quarterback. We're going to give him the chance to win this job. Josh Rosen becomes the better quarterback. You send Kyler Murray packing. You've already wasted a first-round pick.
Right,
I don't understand why they can't compete. They ain't special. They football players. They are
special though.
No, they're not.
You know why they special? Because they get $140 million now. Don't nobody else get that. They are special. They are different,
so
which is why you draft them higher. Even if they have the same grade as a DN, you're going to draft them higher because they're important.
Do you want a guy who is so fragile that he's going to break down because there's another guy in the room who is pretty good? No. You can earn the respect of your locker room by winning that job.
I don't care if the guy is fragile. I care if my team is fragile.
They're going to get behind the best
player.
Just like they do at every other position, they're going to get behind the best player who wins the job.
That is not true.
It is true. When's the last time you've been in a locker room where people got behind the worst player?
They're yelling.
Never that. Never that. Never that.
Earn the job. Win the job.
We're going to get the ball. When you get picked first overall, I'm sorry.
We'll be back in just a moment. These two may continue arguing.